Hi friends, it's Mawdiay Faith here again with Fearful's Journey Through the Desert. And I thought we could do a little bit of chapter 6. Before I start though, I wanted to offer you a exciting opportunity to help me promote Fearful's Journey Through the Desert. If you will put one of my videos of Fearful's Journey Through the Desert. I'll put the link to the chapter 1 video at the end of this video. So if you'll post chapter 1 video to your social media and send me a screenshot of you having posted chapter 1 to your social media, if you will do that, I will put you in a drawing for a Barnes&Noble gift card. It's for, I believe I've made it for $25. So if you will post chapter 1 of Fearful's Journey Through the Desert in your social media and send me a screenshot of that, I will enter you into my drawing for this Barnes&Noble card, and I will do that drawing next week on Tuesday. So I believe that will be June 28th, I believe. Anyhow, I'll do that drawing on June 28th, next Tuesday. And I hope you will enjoy doing this with me. And I hope you have been enjoying Fearful's Journey Through the Desert. So let's get started. Fearful looked up, startled to find Lady Uncertainty by her side, dressed as a slave. "M'lady?" It had been several hours since Fearful had spilled water on her. Do you remember why she'd spilled water on her? Check out chapter 5, part 3 or 4. Anyhow, it's in there. Fearful had not been expecting to see her again. "Shush! If you two want to escape, meet me at the cave at dusk," Lady Uncertainty whispered. Fearful looked over her shoulder at Scaredy-Cat. Her eyebrows were raised high in shock as well. Lady Uncertainty looked around her like a skittish little mouse. "I can't. I'm supposed to do 5 extra rows after everyone else is done." "Don't worry about it. I'll make sure you're free to go. Until then, don't utter a word about it." Lady Uncertainty's green berry-like eyes took on a serious, threatening look. She was known for being tender-hearted, but she didn't look very tender-hearted now with the choppy haircut and dirty slave look. Still, Fearful knew she couldn't hurt a fly, much less a girl. The rest of the day, Fearful was buried in thought about her choice. She was seriously beginning to think on the cost of the 2 choices. Was it better to not risk the chance of death and be chained to this horrible place the rest of her life? What do you think? Should she risk the chance of death to maybe gain some freedom from this horrible life with Prince Iniquity? What do you think? Post in the comments below, please. Was it better to not risk the chance of death and be chained to this horrible place the rest of her life? Or was it better to try escaping and have a chance at freedom? If she chose to go to King Holy One, she was risking her life, losing all her friends, and missing Prince Anointed One's love. Yet if she did go, there was a loving master who would protect her. She wouldn't have to be afraid anymore. The war inside of her was fiercer than before. What do you think? What will she decide? Predict. What do you think will happen? She wouldn't have to be afraid anymore. The war inside her was fiercer than before. The side for going was ever so slowly getting the upper hand. The feeling of a desperate need for something to be satisfied was now championing it on. Go! That night, after everyone other than Overseer, Fearful and Noble Conceited had gone home, Fearful heard an odd sound rising from the city. What kind of odd sound might be rising from the city? What do you think? It wasn't long until the sound was ear-piercing. There were shouts of anger and pain. It all was tremendously overwhelming. It was all Fearful could do to keep from running away from the sound. After a few minutes of this had passed, Fearful looked up to see people running out of the city, coming toward the slave shacks. In their hands they held pitchforks, staffs, anything that could work as weapons. They rushed into the shacks and came out with the slaves running after them with makeshift weapons in their hands. Everyone was shouting. What do you think is going to happen? How does Fearful feel about this? What do you think? Put your comments in the comments below, please. It was all total confusion. Next came the guards rushing out of the city, fully armed for battle. The slaves and people who had come out of the city rushed at the guards with their odd weapons. They were a mass of metal, wood, and bodies. It was hard to determine one from the other. Overseer was caught up in the chaos, and Fearful saw her opportunity to run. She started to run, but then she saw a noble conceited stooped over Blackback. He was attempting to smash the chains from his ankles with an axe Overseer had dropped. She couldn't just leave him. She grabbed the axe from him and smashed the chains for him. "Come on, let's get out of here," she shouted, grabbing his arm and running. He followed her as well as he could with the manacles around his wrists, throwing off his balance. What kind of person do you think Fearful is that she stopped and helped someone? What kind of person? There were times Fearful froze, thinking she heard someone running after them. Every time it was just her hammering heart. Why is Fearful's heart hammering? What do you think? It seemed like an eternity before they got to the cave. In reality, it only took 5 minutes. They finally got to the cave with no mishaps and no one following them. Scaredy Cat, Lady Uncertainty, and her servant girl were already there waiting for them. When Lady Uncertainty saw her husband, she ran to him. He put his chained hands up and over her head. "Oh, conceited, it was so awful!" Lady Uncertainty sobbed on her husband's chest. "You did wonderful." "You mean she started the rebellion?" Fearful whispered to Scaredy Cat. Scaredy Cat raised an eyebrow mischievously, her eyes brimming with an overwhelming joy. "Wait a minute. What are you doing here?" Fearful asked, looking at her friend in astonishment. "Lady Uncertainty found me as I was getting water and asked me to help. I can't explain how, but in that moment something broke and I felt as courageous as a lion." Speechless, Fearful put an arm around her friend, grateful to have Scaredy Cat with her. What do you think happened to Scaredy Cat that she became as bold as a lion? What do you think? Even though content with the thought of her friend coming with her, she was distracted by the spectacle of the nobleman and his wife. Fearful looked at the two, mesmerized by them. She didn't mean to stare, but she couldn't help it. They made an odd sight. She, pale in all her finery and her sloppily cut blonde hair, and he, black as night, bare-chested and in chains. Fearful had only seen this depth of love between her grandparents, then again in Prince Anointed One's eyes, only it had been even stronger and slightly different in his eyes. Every time she saw it, she wished. Oh, what was it she wished? What do you think she's wishing for? Leave your comments in the comments below, please. What are you wishing for? The voice only could belong to one. Who do you think it is? Make a guess. Put your comments in the comments below. Prince and Fearful whirled around excitedly. "Prince Anointed One!" Fearful threw herself into his arms. But Fearful was confused, for she had seen Prince Anointed One dead. "Death can't hold me down. Now what are you wishing for?" He knew what it was even more than she did. She could sense it. She thought for a minute, but couldn't find words for it. The longing was there, yet she couldn't express it. No matter how hard she tried, she just couldn't do it. What do you think she's wishing for? She looked up into his eyes, silently pleading with him to understand the message. The message in her eyes spoke volumes. It revealed more than words ever could. Prince Anointed One smiled down at her. He was satisfied with the silent answer. Then you have a decision to make. All of you do. Will you throw all you know away and follow me? What do you think they'll do? Will they throw everything away that they know and go follow him? What would you do? Would you follow Prince Anointed One? Will you throw all you know away and follow me? He scanned the faces, looking for their answers. We'll follow you to the end, came a chorus of voices. What did I tell you, Joy? I never doubted you for a second, sir, the old lady's servant said with a wide grin. Okay, there's no time to lose. I'm taking you to Prince Iniquity. Be quick and put these on. Trust me. Prince Anointed One said in response to the doubtful looks as he gave each one a suit of armor. Prince Anointed One took Noble Conceited's wrists in his own hands and said a phrase none of them understood. The manacles and the metal bands around his ankles fell to the stone floor with a loud clink. There was no time to marvel or ponder over this. Fearful knew by now that Prince Anointed One didn't use those words lightly. What he really meant by them was, lay your life in my hands and see that I'll never leave you nor forsake you. By now she could with full assurance lay her life in his hands and let go. She knew with all her being that this was the safest place. What do you think? Do you agree with Fearful? Is trusting Prince Anointed One the safest place she can be? They all put the armor on and went out of the cave. Outside they found horses for all but one of them. Little Rose, Prince Anointed One said, holding out his hand to pull her up onto his horse with him. The sky was dark with clouds. There was no way the moon could shine through. There was a gigantic streak of lightning and a horrific thunderclap. Boom! Fearful turned in the saddle and buried her face in Prince Anointed One's arm. Don't fear. The storm won't hurt you. Besides, my father and I created it to be a magnificent event. Look up. You're missing the best part. Slowly, Fearful looked up. She saw something she had never noticed before. A thunderstorm in all its glory. The lightning zigzagged across the sky, and the thunder shook the earth. Sitting in front of Prince Anointed One, it no longer seemed like a terrifying event, but a wonderful occurrence that proclaimed King Holy One's power and majesty. Do you ever get scared by a thunderstorm? I know my little sisters used to. It can be scary sometimes. Before Fearful knew it, they were in the town square. Prince Iniquity must have called everyone together to reproach those who had taken part in the rebellion. Lamps dotted the square, giving an eerie light. Well, I think we will pause there, but how do you think Prince Iniquity will respond to seeing Prince Anointed One alive again, alive from the dead? How do you think Prince Iniquity will respond? Put your comments in the comments below. And if you would like to join me in promoting Fearful's Journey Through the Desert, would you put Fearful's Journey Through the Desert Chapter 1, my video that I'll put in the link into this video? If you will put that video, a screen, into your social media, put it into your social media, and send me a screenshot at my email, mawdayfaithbooks@mail.com. Send me that screenshot of you putting the video into your social media, and I will put you into my drawing for a Barnes&Noble gift card. I hope you enjoy that. God bless. Bye.